2024's been a rough year for PlayStation. Not only has there been little to no releases this year, but the PS5 Pro has become the latest laughingstock of gaming with its ludicrous $700 price tag. And on top of that, Concord, their $400 million catastrophe, got shut down 2 weeks after launch. Yeah, it certainly could be going better for them, but hey, at least they're making games. Xbox. While I usually cover Nintendo stuff, it's not like I don't want to cover other platforms. It's just in the case of the PS5 that none of their games generally interest me. I do own a PS5 just in case, but outside of Persona 3 Reload, my console's just been collecting dust. It's for these reasons that I'm finally happy to take out my expensive paperweight and try out Sony's latest title. Oh. Astro Bot. Astro Bot first premiered in the 2018 title Astro Bot Rescue Mission, an exclusive to the PlayStation VR headset, and he became a bit of an iconic representation of the PlayStation itself. Most people will remember him though from his pack-in title, Astro's Playroom. This was a short but fun experience that acted as a tech demo for what Astro could do during the launch. So now, 4 years later, Team Asobi made a full platformer for Astro Bot, and so far, it's been received rather well, with people calling it fun, charming, and a love letter to PlayStation franchises. So, since PlayStation games like these are kinda rare nowadays, I wanted to take a chance and give my thoughts on the game as a whole.
So today, we're gonna take a break from the Switch. That's right, sweet prince. You deserve it. Get some rest. Get some sleep. Quick, someone find his younger brother. And we're gonna bust out the PlayStation 5.
Is Astro Bot truly out of this world? Let's find out. The game starts out with Astro and his many bot buddies flying through space on a giant PS5. Don't question it. Suddenly, a giant space alien jerk pops up and steals the core chip of the Astro Bot's console. This causes the PS5 to explode and the parts, along with everyone on board, to scatter to the cosmos. After being revived by your PS5 controller, it's up to Astro to get back on his feet and save the day. The story is pretty silly, but it's not the main focus here. This is a bright and colorful platformer, and what matters is the gameplay. The game can be goofy as it wants with the story, quote unquote, as long as it's fun. The world map for this game just screams Mario Galaxy. You're literally flying through space on your controller ship. Each section of levels is a galaxy. Each galaxy is a bunch of planets. And you can even unlock some levels through random comets that fly through space. Nintendo fans have been waiting for Mario Galaxy 3 for a decade. Who knew Sony would be the one to deliver? As Astro explores each and every level, I gotta say, these are some of the most gorgeous levels I have ever seen. The PS5 really capitalizes on its graphic engine, creating some of these eye-catching and vivid environments. While Sony usually puts all its graphical fidelity into how many pores you can see on a character's face, or the fine hairs on somebody's nose, it's nice to see them take a different direction and really flesh out these unique environments. Not everything has to be hyper-realistic, Sony. I don't need to know if Kratos has dandruff in his beard. Every single level looks gorgeous or detailed. And to top it all off, they're well-designed and fun to explore too. You want to look every nook and cranny as much as you can to find all the collectibles. What are the collectibles, you may ask? Why, the Astro Bots, of course. A lot of them are just plain normal Astros, but a huge chunk of them are bot versions of popular PlayStation mascots from all over the PlayStation universe. Ratchet from Ratchet & Clank, Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, Nathan Drake, Kratos.
Boy.
And even a few surprises. I was so happy to see characters like Crash and Spyro make an appearance. Spyro! My boy!
Thanks for releasing me.
There's even some third-party appearances, like Persona, Yakuza, Street Fighter, and they even have some really retro PlayStation mascots. Half the fun with collecting the bots is seeing the cameos and finding out who is in this game. I assure you, there are more people than you expect, and with 300 bots, I'm sure there will be at least one you'll recognize. As for what these bots do and the purpose for collecting them, Well, let's leave that for later. What else can you collect? There are coins scattered all throughout the levels. It wouldn't be a platformer without coins, now would it? Except maybe these ones. The coins are important though, so grab as many as you can. You can collect puzzle pieces as well. There are usually 2 or 3 per level. Then there are warp holes. If you find those, you can unlock more challenging levels and more bots and more coins and more puzzle pieces. You get the point. Maybe it's me wanting to find all the bots or how natural the flow seems, but I had so much fun trying to 100% each level and find everything this game had hidden away. Some games sprinkle collectibles through their games as a way to pad their playtime, but with Astro Bot, I never felt the grind that comes with those type of games. This is going to be one of those games where you're going to want to find everything for a multitude of reasons. It's just so entertaining to go around and be a completionist. For the most part, it's not too difficult either. It reminds me of a typical Nintendo platformer, with the same bright and colorful energy and the multitude of things to collect. But only Sony is doing it this time, and I more than welcome it. And if you do struggle to find a collectible, you can use this robot bird to help you find anything you miss. Also, the music is ungodly catchy. Like the Astro Bot song that plays in the first level is such an earworm that it will remain drilled in your head for months. So many of these tracks are funky, atmospheric, and upbeat. These tunes have been in my head for weeks. Play something else. No. These tracks really fit the levels they're in. And some are just trippy. Trippy is putting it lightly too. I mean, look at this! The great Deku Tree is rapping about how it wants to eat me. That's weird, right? But you know what's not weird? How you move Astro Bot. The controls are fairly standard too. Astro can jump, attack, use hover shoes with laser beams attached to them, and of course, the spin attack. Astro uses these moves to navigate through each level. There are also special chests in certain locations that give you power-ups. There's a bulldog that helps you charge at things super fast, frog boxing gloves to punch things, a chicken rocket that launches you upward. There's a bulletproof suit that you can roll in a ball, an outfit made of spongy material that absorbs water, an octopus that just inflates you. Again, the game's weird. Tons of different varieties that help add to the gameplay and level design. A lot of these are super cute, goofy, and adorable abilities that are also helpful with boss fights. The bosses in this game are epic. They're larger than life and absolutely get the adrenaline kicking with their humongous attacks and awesome music. It reminds me a lot of the Mario boss formula. Hit it 3 times, avoid its pattern attacks, rinse, repeat, win. It's nothing fancy, but it is fun. But what's more satisfying is the PlayStation-themed levels, referencing games like Ape Escape, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted, and of course, God of War. Boy. The great thing about these levels is, not only is it themed to the game it's representing, but you also get weapons and game mechanics from those franchises as well. It essentially gives you a mini experience like you're playing the actual characters from those games themselves. Add in tons of reference locations, secrets, and music, and it's like you're playing a game within a game. For example, you get a giant net in Ape Escape. You get a bow in the Horizon Zero Dawn level. You get a pea-shooter gun in Uncharted, and you get an axe in God of War that you could toss at things and have it boomerang back at you. Also, Astro gets a freaking beard. I love it. These levels are some of the most creative of the game, and you can tell there is so much love poured into these. Even as someone who has barely played any of these games, it makes me smile. It made me want to give these games a shot, which is a lot more than Sony on its own ever did. It's almost as if the company should embrace its IPs and not just chase trends. At the end of each PlayStation-themed level, you get a PS5 part, and you get back to the home world to put it all together with the help of your good old DualSense controller doing some wacky motion controls. It feels like a callback to the Wii era of gaming. A bit. A lot has improved, like the vibrations and how the controller feels in your hand when you're doing motions. It's really cool, and I just can't really explain it. You kinda gotta feel it yourself. This isn't the first time the DualSense controller is used either. You use it to fly your controller in the beginning of each level. Sometimes you have to blow on the mic or shake the controller. There's a surprising amount of uses for it. Again, reminds me of the Wii Remote days, and it really shows how much the motion controls have changed over the years. After you've done performing the DualSense sorcery, you add the part to your PS5 and are taken to the homeworld, aka the crash site. And I love this hub world area so much. It reminds me of Waddle Dee Town from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Basically, the more bots you rescue, the more appear at the crash site. If you get enough of them, they can help you complete little challenges like forming ladders or bridges that access new locations, holding either puzzle pieces or even more bots. Astro Bot literally commands his army similar to how Captain Olimar commands his Pikmin. It's really neat and keeps you motivated to rescue them all. The puzzle pieces unlock things too. There's a changing room where Astro can try on various costumes, reminiscent of classic PlayStation mascots. There's also a cool looking transparent Astro. It's like he's not even there. There's a DualSense control hanger where you can change the color of your DualSense controller. The gold and hot pink ones are great. And my personal favorite unlock, the Gotcha Crane, where you can get costumes, DualSense controller skins, and accessories for the Astro Bots you've rescued. These include even more references to the games they're from. I was really eager to see how each character was represented. And I'm not even a huge PlayStation fan. I can only imagine how someone who grew up with loving these games would be head over heels for this. Now, the biggest critique I hear from this game is that it's a bit too easy. And yeah, I can see that for about 90% of the game. But I assure you, if you look hard enough, you'll find some levels that are on the harder side, especially if you want to 100% the game. I found the levels with the buttons on the PlayStation controller especially challenging. That said, I'm terrible at platformers, and while it may take a few tries, you'll be sure to get it done with a little practice. Even so, I'm happy to say I not only enjoyed the game, but I 100%'d it. I just couldn't help myself. It felt so natural to keep going, and combined with the rewards of the crash site and me wanting to explore every inch of the game, I had to see everything it had to offer, especially since this was a PS5 game, something on a console that wasn't cheap. I wanted to get the most out of my dollar, and Astro Bot was more than worth the money. Although I do find it funny, Astro Bot was a huge success. It felt that way because it did a lot of things that felt like a Nintendo game. I know it does a lot of things different from Mario and Zelda, but it seemed to borrow so many elements from previous Nintendo franchises and use them to create an interesting gaming experience. Not that I'm complaining, I'm actually all for it. I love that Team Asobi went back to PlayStation's heyday. After seeing a slew of gritty third-person adventures and brooding, poor-filled storylines, it's nice to see something that is just fresh and fun. And on top of that, I felt that they used the game as a way to celebrate the glory of PlayStation IPs, which is rather nice. Funny that Sony tried the cute and fun platformer the same year Nintendo made a dark and gloomy game about a serial killer. What will happen next? Xbox will release a game? To wrap it up, I just gotta say, I truly adore Astro Bot. It's one of the best platformers I've played since Mario Odyssey. It's fun, gorgeous, full of heart, and doesn't take itself too seriously. It goes above and beyond to be a fantastic game. I think it's a must-have for PS5 owners. Sure, it borrows a lot from Nintendo, but who cares? The game is fun, and that's what matters. I would play a lot more games on PS5 if they had the same heart as Astro Bot. I hope this game sells like hotcakes. I hope it wins Game of the Year. And if you're even the slightest bit interested in it and own a PS5, get this game. You won't regret it. Astro Bot is in every way iconic. Wow, it was kind of nice to play something on PlayStation for this show. Maybe I'll play another PS5 game in the future. But until then, goodbye. I miss you, Switch! Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and check out my other videos too. Special thanks to all the people who helped me out in the video. I couldn't have done it without all of you. Also, an extra special thank you to all my Patreon patrons, including Mantelferox and Savacom. Each one of you support me, and you all mean the world to me. If you'd like to join the Patreon, the link is in the description below, along with my Twitch and Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good night.